shadows where the secrets dwell. Maria whispers with a cosmic spell, channeling messages from the stars above. Orsic's legacy, a mystery of love. Vril energy flows, transcending time, a bridge to the heavens, a force so sublime. Maria, oh Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the Vril Society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential, forever we'll soar. Lost in the echoes of a war-torn night, she vanished like a comet out of our sight. A visionary queen, ruling the unknown in the metaphysical realms. She stands alone, communicating wisdom, an extraterrestrial song. Her essence remains bold and strong. Maria, oh Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the Vril Society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential, forever we'll soar. Embrace the connection, let the mystery unfold. Maria Orsic's truth, a story retold.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Yes, big I believe that is the solar plexus chakra. May your swastika spin, sister and brother. Healing, healing, H-E-A-L for Lou. And it's officially April 1st, 4/1/2026. I promise I'm not gonna rant and rave and bitch about the bankers, even because I want to give you the opportunity as the listener, the 30 people who are listening. I love you. We love you. Allah Luja loves you. But he doesn't love everyone, because we hate those who love evil, and we love those who hate evil. All right. And that's why in this final battle, we are the pale skin Indians, because there is truly a one love culture. It's our religion, the religion of Maria Orsic, the religion of Amor, the religion, as she first told me, because she said, I knew you wouldn't know the word Amor, and I didn't want to bother with trying to explain to you the definitions, and that there was different kinds of what people were calling the emotion. It's always tied to emotion, to a feeling, to something real, right? We say we're not led by our emotions because our emotions a lot of times are reacting to what is happening to you as an individual. In a sort of AI pre-planned program of calculating what your reaction will be. And this is, when we start to break the smaller circles of eternal return and say, no, 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 I'm not going to live that way. And it took me many, 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 many years to understand what this meant to us. She, made sure she qualified. I'm not talking about everyone. I'm not exaggerating anything. She's here right now. She would easily step up and correct me. Her and I can switch bodies very easily. And she does constantly. Um, she said, "Go ahead." I said, "Let me," and telepathically, I said to her, maybe I should veer off and tell like one of the first times we really, really heavily switch bodies. Crazy, crazy, wild ritual. Just like the most wild warfare. I wouldn't be here today. I know people think I'm exaggerating and like, oh, you have this, uh, this is what everyone who's targeted by these people, you don't have to be anyone, but the reaction in others around you is, oh, we always knew you had an exaggerated sense of self importance, you know? And this is also what they'll eventually say to any real artist is, oh, you think your own songs are good. When anyone that knows and works on music, your own songs are just as they are, as it is, so be it, let it be. You can't like or not like them. They're just what you did because you've heard them so many times. You're like, here, you know, here to anyone who does like it, I hope you enjoy it because I don't really anymore. When I first did, when you first write a song and it first comes together, it's a beautiful, wonderful feeling, almost, similar to like miraculous, if I may use the stupid Christian word. We don't talk like Christians. We don't like people who do. I don't mean to laugh at myself. Maria makes me laugh and it makes me look like I'm laughing at myself. And people are like, oh, see, you're so crazy. You and your invisible friends. And that's what they've always said to all the shamans, good and evil, for I think it's like 50,000 years recorded. I think the very earliest beautiful art that we ever have in the history of this world before Sumer, Sumerians. I wonder if that's a coincidence. Sumerians. But going back further than that was the cave paintings of the shamans. And why is there bulls? Why is it all about cows? Why is Mithra, Egypt, what's her name? Hathor or whatever? You know, everywhere you go, nigga, they have a cow god. And you're going to tell me that milk and cottage cheese and cream cheese and kefir and yogurt are magic. Kind of like that cracker and grape juice bullshit. It's funny that I said bullshit. I don't know what I'm doing, believe me. But nigga, you're gonna tell me that Shiva's fucking blue and you touch the psilocybin mushroom, it turns blue. And you're telling me the Rig Veda is not an amorphized mushroom. And I'll just simply tell you, because we're from different religions and you go your way, I'll go my way. It's a shame that you side with the fucking bankers. But you always do because Christianity is conformity. Conformity in this day and age, April 1st, 2026, is Crawley-anity. Oh, what the fuck are you talking about? Thelema is the theater. You're in the theater of Thelema. And because the mediocre, boring ass cunts that me and Maria call the masses don't give a fuck about anyone's children but their own, and which makes them as big of a fucking sellouts as the very bankers themselves. And I've been taught by Maria not to waste my time being angry or hating the masses. But one day I said to her, is it morally wrong? I mean, are you going to look at me as a bad person if I hate people for being so dumb? And I can't help it. That's the emotion I feel. I feel like I hate you. You are causing other people the greatest misery that a human being, in my mind, the greatest misery in this earthling experience for me would be to lose one of my children when they were growing up. And even after, even to this day, most of my meditation concentration, which is imagination, which we would call magic, is to keep them alive. And I don't even know why. Because the enemy is death itself, because it's represented by Aleister Crowley. Who are these people's gods? Some of them, nigga, you're talking to. Some of the gods of Thelema, you're talking to them. Because you underestimate your enemy. You don't know your enemy. You don't know the laws of war. You haven't fought this kind of war. And it's almost like, well, you can't really blame them. But because of you, we're going to lose. We're always going to lose. And that's what makes us win in another world. But at the same time, it doesn't feel good to lose, ever, does it? And that's why it's lose. You know, that's why the English language isn't a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Like I was talking about the other night, the Strait of Hormuz. Maria said to me, well, go ahead and pray to Horus and Tammuz. And I was like, you mean Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia? Or, you know? And she was like, yeah, exactly. And I started to. And all of a sudden, we switched bodies. And she was like, I call upon the very nature that's impersonal. This is what I'm calling Horus, the Ho-race, and Ta, the Muse. I call upon these symbols that I know can only be personalized by me. So, as the air itself, Lucifer, and the moon itself, Donna, and the sun itself, my son right here, the little lion, I call upon all us to put our energy together and gather the sun, moon, stars, the air, water, earth, and fire, and the power of vril, which is one thing and one thing only, the process of the eternal orgasm. For us, it can be whatever you want. Nigga, we ain't telling people what to think, you know, and how to talk. We don't care, because we break into these casts where it's like, dude, there's no use. Like, I'm not promoting a religion. I'm just teaching one, not promoting one. Just like throwing it out there. Like Maria said, we're a light in the wilderness for someone to come upon. Right? And we'll just leave that little river. But we'll conclude, because it is war, that what we said was all the elements, all the energy of nature and the energy that can be processed in my live, her, and my pineal gland to destroy America, its military, the killing machine, the magicians behind it, the clown face, and the puppets, and the bankers, and all of their followers. Our land will never be free with the oppressor. And why do I say that? Because, class, everything is in the matrix. Everything is the logical conclusion of what an individual person believes. They've become the hive mind, individually choosing it. You know, and I've said many times over, if you're not a banker, let me tell you, dumb ass nigga, stop telling people you are. Stop saying you are. Stop broadcasting you are. And like I said the other night, I don't know when these come out, but there came a time where me and Maria switched bodies, and I think it was my mother-in-law. And Maria told me, take that mushroom tea and give it to these two women and break this mushroom cap into 3 pieces and say, this is my body. Lucifer, Lu, the god, Sif, the goddess, are both her, he, she, her, him. I didn't know this at the time, but I just did it magically. I just trusted Maria enough to switch bodies with her. And I believe she was the fourth person initiated. So it was my wife, my daughter, her, and then Mindy, I think. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, something like that. And when we drank and ate this, it was like all of a sudden I seen how much of a boring cunt you have to compromise your ancestors and your true religion to come to say that grape juice in a cracker or magic makes you a cunt. I was like, that is no bullshit. They took this experience that our ancestors died for. That's what we're trying to say. Shaman, this is Maria. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I'm not a remote viewer. I'm none of these. I'm a shaman. I live in the world where plants, because they are our people. In our view, from where we're at, you have 3 types of people: human people, animal people, and plant people, right? And this is coming straight from Maria. As far as we know, in our experience, there's no super consciousness. There's no personality behind nature. There's no personality behind the astral plane or any plane. You are the personality wherever you are. You're that thing. And that's where like a strange division comes between some of us. And they're like, no, maybe we're smarter than Joe and Maria, this dumb Hoosier from the Missouri, Mississippi confluence, the most magical Stargate vortex ever. Ever. Wow, I'm in the basement and can hear the thunder outside. And we'll get to the reading. Right? Okay, we're reading from Miguel Serrano's Son of the Widower. And until you understand what it's like to lose your eternal true love in your arms, coughing on her own blood, drowning in her lungs in her own blood. The reason I haven't been reading much fiction and biographies and other people, I have been just inspired by Irene Klatt Serrano. And it took me a minute, but I came to realize that most of what I really loved that Miguel Serrano wrote was he was writing about her in a very factual, real way, and trying really to show us how magical, beautiful, lovely, sweet, smart Irene really was, original, you know. And I never once asked Maria for any supernatural connection to people. That just happened. And as I was learning all this, I think it was right after I had this whole tulip, you know, meeting with the young girl who told me, no, the book of resurrection, it comes true. Like you do it. You can resurrect yourself after you're dead, and your eternal true love will be waiting for you. Right? And it wasn't until I believe it was right after that, soon after that, one of my rituals, like I was like, okay, Maria, I'm about to leave my body. Let's meet, not on the astral plane, in another world. It's a big difference. I hope people, and I know people who don't practice any kind of shamanism don't know what I'm talking about. But there's other worlds, and you can click into them through the keys of the plants and no other one. My wife, that's why she is my wife. She, I may have complained about her, but she sticks to her guns. She's not Jewish, and she ain't going to buy into any of that shit. And she knows for a fact that you cannot do what these mushrooms do without them. She knows that. And that makes me respect her, I guess, enough to, balance everything, because once you get away from the world, you see, wow, that is strength. That is Capricorn earth strength. That's as strong as the earth of, like, okay, now I see good and evil. Motherfucker, you're not going to get me to agree that my people, that I came from, my ancestors, who I am through my ancestors, is evil, because I'm looking at goddamn evil. And this book, like my wife said, has nothing to do with me. I'm Irish and Italian. This book is about Jews. Ain't a goddamn word in here about Irish and Italian people. And you might be like, oh, the Gentiles, that's like them calling you nigger. It's like, oh, we can save the niggers. The unclean Samaritans. You ever just sat and listened to what Jesus said about Gentiles? It's disgusting that you worship, that you have this love of your oppressor, is so fucked up that it's crazy. Okay, I'm getting to the reading. Right. I can't see, so that's why I'm doing that. Okay, hold it. Oh yeah. where did I leave off? Okay, right. Sorry, let me stop this and figure this out. Okay, here's where we left off. What do the gods want? They want that man, the Divya, the god who has fallen, the hero already separated from his divinity, to recover it, returning to the lost home, and that they should show him the way, though they know he shall never again be a god like them, but something else, unknown in this universe, able to illuminate the darkness of God. They know this. They wait for it and desire it. That is why they help us, thus repeating the eternal story. Reading from Son of the Widower, Miguel Serrano. Islam will also be affected in its doctrine by the destruction of its Abrahamic foundational myth. If Abraham did not exist, nor his son Ishmael, then who went to Mecca and found the Kaaba? And who was that woman, Sheba, that widow who gave her dwelling adjacent to the Kaaba to his descendants so they could build the foundations for that new religion of the Arabs, on condition that they forever remember their descendants as, quote, sons of the widow. Here we again confront the clear and decisive destruction of the traces of Hinduism. The Kaaba was a monolith. Perhaps it was a meteorite of immemorial antiquity, transformed into a Hindu sanctuary on which were inscribed symbols and names of the Aryan gods of Hinduism: Brahma, Shiva, Parvati, Ganesha, the elephant god, and the son of the former gods, as well as of Indian emperors, among them King Vikrama Ditya, conqueror of those regions. The Queen of Sheba, is that Sheba? Also was there. Wow. Sheba can also be the feminine counterpart of the god Shiva, who is androgen. There are inscriptions on the pillar of Qutub Minar in Delhi, similar to those that were or still are on the Kaaba, on the black stone of Mecca in Arabia. In the Sanskrit, Arva means horse. Arvatan is land of horses. Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Turkestan are also names of Sanskrit origin, indicating that those lands, now Muslim, once belonged to the great Hindu Vedic Empire. From the many inscriptions on the Kaaba, Muhammad only took that of Allah for his unique God, perhaps because the name can be read the same from both sides. This is a Sanskrit term for the invocation of the mother goddess Durga, Allah, Akka. It is used in Hindu chants dedicated to the wife and mother of Shiva, the great Donna. If you guys only know, Allah is literally he, she. And Maria told me this before I had the book. Believe it, this has something to do with her magic name. And, yeah, that's how crazy we are. Yeah, she has a magic name. He, she, Allah, literally, is he, she, al, he, la, she. Hence, the Arabs were strangers to the peninsula in those pre-Islamic times and were civilized by the Indian Vedic emperors and converted to Brahmic civilization and religion. In the Makta Sultana Library in Istanbul is a valuable document found on the altar of the Hindu temple of the Kaaba that recounts every aspect of this. The Kaaba was a temple dedicated to the sun and planets through adoration by fire. And Mohammedan attempted to obscure this sign because this is fake Catholic bullshit behind the Mohammed myth by including the waning moon on their symbol. So I'll read that again. The Mohammedan attempted to obscure the adoration of fire by including the waning moon in their emblem. In their conflict with the Jewish tribes of the region, the Muslims' own adopted character of Abraham was then plagiarized by the Jews, moreover, as a pronunciation and a scribal error of the Indian god Brahma. In truth, Islam, like Christianity, has been plagiarized skillfully from the archetypes of other beliefs and religions, from the Eddas, for example, the sagas of the Asir and the Vanir of the ancient Germans. And they took the jinn and the Hurries from Valhalla and the Valkyries, and the feast of Ramadan recalls the asceticism and the fasting of the festivals of Rama and Ramayana. Ramayana. And the very name Islam deconstructs into Isis, the black, Kali, as the Black Virgin, as the Kaaba. And the very name Islam deconstructs into Ice, the goddess Isis, the black, as Kali, as the Black Virgins, as the Kaaba herself, and Lam, the mantra of the Muladhara chakra, that of the sexual organs, signaling a tantric initiation which has disappeared from the religious dogma of Islam, although perhaps not from her depths as indicated by Taj Mahal in India and the name Kaaba as well. Ka cave means great mother, black stone. Also, lam is path. Islam would originally be the way of Isis, of the goddess Isis, that of tantric initiation of Sheba, the widow, the queen of Sheba, sons of Sabasheba, sons of the widow, literally. The black stone of the Kaaba, Shiva and Kali, Ra and Isis. Every one of them black, negrito, derived from the Kaaba Vimana, the UFO, because the Vimanas were made of stone and are so mentioned in the Ramayana and the Bhagavad Gita. These deep these deep secrets were known and kept by the Sufis, Muslim initiates, Manichaeans, and Gnostics who maintained them in their purity. In India, I met such a Sufi worshippers of Krishna and Lord Shiva. You hear that? He met Muslim worshippers of Krishna and Lord Shiva. Allah, Lu, Ja, Am Shiva. After I went round and round with, who are you? Joe, I am Shiva. I'm the fulfillment of the archetype to you, personally. Inhale to your name, Leo. We love you so much. We love you. Perhaps the Ishmaelites, that is, assassins, followers of Imam, the old man of the mountain, the shaman, also had a similar origin. But Muslims, like the Catholics, destroyed everything, imposing a fierce orthodoxy, as with the Inquisition, stoning of transgressors and so forth. They hid the eternal feminine as well as the faces of their women, and contrary to the jewel of their Taj Mahal, a poem in marble and precious stones dedicated to eternal love, to the Amor of the Hyperboreans and the Vedic Aryans. They invented Purda, 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 and also the harem. Moreover, they destroyed the Muslims, right? They invented Purda and also the harem. Moreover, they destroyed those marvelous reliquaries and sculptures throughout the world, like the millennial stone Buddhas of Afghanistan. Shame on you, Muslims. You fucked up. You are fucked up like the Christians and the bankers. As with Christianity, the invisible hand of the bankers has penetrated Islam as well. And when their inventions are exposed as being false, they are also stripped bare for the Muslims to see together with the Christians. The Arabs also penetrated by Dagatum and Donna Jews. The Arabs were also penetrated by the Dagatum and Donna Jews. Do you hear that? Passing themselves off as Arabs, disguised they were Jews, just like the Spanish Sephardim. However, the Arabs of Islam, like the Christians, perhaps even more than they, are in a position to overcome the great crisis because they have kept the secret of the Kaaba among an initiate minority, the initiation of the black sun. The initiation of the black sun, the black stone that was hidden nexus of Islam with esoteric Hitlerism. during, before, and after the Great War. Right? Did you hear that, love? Should I read that sentence, that big, long sentence again? However, the Arabs of Islam, like the Christians, perhaps even more than they, are in a position to overcome the great crisis because they have kept the secret of the Kaaba among the initiate minority. The initiation of the black sun, the black stone, that was hidden. That was the hidden nexus of Islam with esoteric Hitlerism during, before, and after the Great War. Everything, all theology, philosophy for us centers and spins around the Great War, the great massacre of tens of millions of civilians. Don't care what side you're fucking on at this point. If you agree with killing civilians, you're fucked up. Get away from us. We don't want you with us. Esoteric Hitlerism. That's this section. After the new covenant with Jehovah, that tribe of slaves, the Jews who arrived with the Aryans in the exodus of the Gobi, crossing India to the Middle East, they gradually altered everything, infiltrating everything with the aid of their demon god Jehovah. The Jews remained in India as Bnei Israel, dissimulated, camouflaged, dissimulated, that's wild, camouflaged. In Greece, they settled in Monastir and remained there until this day. Among the blacks of African, they are the Falasha of India. Among the Chinese and Japanese, the Tayakun Kayo. In the Americas, they are the Aztecs. You hear that? Who are the bankers in America? They are the Aztecs. Sorry. With their bloody sacrifice, who expelled Maria's husband, Quetzalcoatl. And among the Arabs, they are the Dagatam and the Dome, as we have said. At what moment did the Jew become a genetic robot, a golem, a clone of Jehovah? No doubt, long before the renewed pact, new covenant, and at the very moment of the appearance of man on earth. The great risk Jehovah runs is that with its artificial genetic creation, its necessitates, carefully measured dosings of mixings with animal meat. And that is where its experiment, this Epstein experiment, could fail. And at times already failed. And thereby producing a conflict, an internal struggle between the genetic robot and its human part that in the end may cause a catastrophic explosion in which Jehovah itself could be destroyed. Do you hear what he's saying? Exactly what Maria said. AI people that literally are causing an internal struggle in everyone that's real. We're literally going, what is wrong with you genetic robots? Because genetically, they are AI. And you are living in the matrix in a holographic illusion, a holographic hallucination where everyone who's really plugged in, their imaginations are connected. And that's what it takes to create a world, a physical world where you jump from the nirvana true self level into a game of sorts. For what? Eternal true love for our people. But, a various mediocre, I don't even know how to say it, dormant, latent, boring things for some people. Can we say it that way? Okay, sorry. Genetic robots And that's why Maria was like, stop, Joseph. They're not real. Only the people you knew before you came here before you came here are real to you. Can be real to you. Have the ability to be real to you. And what's crazy is because of the pressure of the situation, things can be way more magic. Our true self is almost like at a place where it's like, oh, I mean, this is what I see subjectively of like, hold it. This is the theater of the Lehman. This is where we do our real magic because this is the eternal existential life or death struggle with the real enemy that's always there in the atmosphere, may and will in eternal return escape one day to oppress and deceive the whole world again and bring this stupid ass Aleister Crowley bullshit everywhere. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about banker culture, banker religion, banker this and banker that. Genetic robot and its human part that in the end may cause a catastrophic explosion in which Jehovah itself, the Golem collective unconscious of these people, could be destroyed. Wow. Moreover, it runs the risk of bringing out a rebellion of human beings against the robots, against the clones, the Golem, from within the world of Judaism itself. And the great rabbis and Jehovah itself know and sense this. Hence, their ever more urgent necessity to provoke a world conflict of immense proportions in order to distract the masses of Jews away from their own drama and thereby feed Jehovah. At the same time, they are destroying the foundations of the millennial beliefs. Revealing their falsehoods, the rabbis are building a new religion of the Holocaust, to maintain their own inner cohesion and paralyze the dumbass goyim. Here, Professor Herman Wirth, founder of the Nerve, the SS Research Institute, knew all of this. He personally revealed it to me at the end of his days when he wrote his masterpiece on the history of the Jewish people, a manuscript that has been made to disappear, possibly being preserved now in the Vatican. Meanwhile, Professor Young was preoccupied with the fact that the Western world was interpreted in its development from paganism, from the imposition of another culture. No doubt he was referring to Christianity. He attributed Europe's conflicts and wars to this inner dichotomy and to a periodic outbreaks of her suppressed pagan world that had been disturbed from its natural development. For Young, these outbreaks were the resurgence of Wotan Odin, the god of war. Nothing like this occurred in India because Indian religious world developed from its polar and Vedic origins without interference, without interruption, as noted by Tilak, the author. However, and for this very same reason, in India, men are less individualized without a consciousness of their own self. They are enveloped within the great collective unconscious, so to speak. So, like dogs and cats, the East Indian never becomes bored. Boredom is the result of the self when unable to create new entertainments, unable to invent them at every moment. Instead, the unconscious is immersed in and lives through manifestations thousands of years old, how forever in contact with their gods who speak to them. The East Indian always thinks the same, believes the same, lives the same, united with his entire people. This is the collective unconscious. One Hindu is the same as the next, the reverse of the Westerners. From each is different. In addition, Young stated that the Indians do not think ideas, ideas appear to them. Only Westerners and Europeans create ideas, produce them. At least that is how it feels to them. And that has come to be the compensation for the internal conflict produced by the imposition of Christianity on their pagan world. This is what I say, from which thereby interpreted their natural evolution, natural pagan evolution, and produced the coincidence of one self, the appearance of the I. It was a unique case in the entire universe. The extraordinary event of Hitlerism is also unique in world history, enabling a people conscious of itself to resume its will, that is, to resume the interrupted evolution of the pagan world, but in a rational way and thereby in a natural way that incorporates esoteric Christianity, so to speak, uniting Wotan with Christos, because both are one and the same person, the same archetype, the same God. Exactly what Maria was saying to me. And she was also adding, he's my husband. We know him this day as Lou. I was telling people I had 3 dreams of Jesus. I no longer say that. I say now I know who that man is. He's Lou. He's Lucifer. And we'll be right back with Ultimate Avatar. Alrighty, sorry. I don't mean to be. I can't see. I can barely smell. But we're here. We're doing it. We're here for Mother. Heil to you. And this is where I really believe we left off. We're talking about the true history of white people, actually. Um, Talking about the indigenous whites found in Spanish Argentina that had been there for thousands of years. Huh? Yeah, that's right. They carried metal daggers. They were monogamous. The mysterious name Comanchingans. Remember me trying to pronounce that word? Comanchingans. For their linguistics have been able to find meaning and now have been analyzed by Professor Monk. It meant the first to arrive. The first to arrive. The Eddas tell us of did we read this? Yeah. He who identifies with the eagle must go beyond towards the thunderbolt bird. He who identifies with the eagle must go beyond towards the thunderbird, who is something like the spiritual counterpart of the physical eagle. This is the symbolism of the Hyperborean eagle, right? Reading from Miguel Serrano's Ultimate Avatar. In the great journey of the sun, Professor Mayhew reproduces a photograph of the mummy of a blonde Inca from Paragas, Peru, of Nordic Aryan type. They have been able to prevent him from doing that. They have not been able to prevent him doing it, but with great difficulties, editing his books multiply and academic silence surrounds them. Well, do I know what this conspiracy means? When the clutches of the enemy close around one and general cowardice does the rest. You hear that? Only the few comrades will remain faithful with us to the end. Vinland is a name the Vikings gave to America. Land of vines. Vinland, land of wild grapes. Land of wild grapes. Isn't that crazy? Land of wine. Wow, that's crazy. That was one of our group rituals was America is drunk. The name came from a German in the 9th century, Tysker. Vinland was where Massachusetts is found at present. In North America, it is possible to discover the Tamubaten, Brandbenten, and Himmelstein. The Vikings were in frequent contact with the Sioux, the Huron, Mohican, and Pueblo Indians. All of them remembered the white gods and spoke of Thule as the fatherland of their ancestors, those whites who mixed with their blood and left them the cult of the black sun, the fire and sign of the swastika. Not long ago, soon before his death, Professor Worth in Germany received the visit of a delegation of Redskins from North America who roamed the country in search of the man who still adored the swastika. They carried presents to give to him, but the man was no longer there. The Redskins kept the true symbolism of the eagle of the Hyperborean mythology that is no longer possible to find anywhere else and has been studied by Schuon in his book, The Sacred Pipe. They have developed this symbolism metaphysically with the concept of the thunderbird, Wankin Tonka. Wankin is Wotan, a supernatural being who is hidden beneath the clouds of the thunderstorms and whose eyes flash bolts, producing thunder and the beating of his wings. This bird fights against the dragon of evil. He is Olympian Zeus, Jupiter the thunderous, Olin Tananath of the Aztecs, Nordic Hyperborean trilogy of Odin, Thor, and Tyr, polar gods. He who identifies with the eagle must go beyond towards the thunderbird. Sorry, I can't speak. He who identifies with the eagle must go beyond towards the thunderbird, who is something like a spiritual counterpart of the physical eagle, like what Mount Meru is to Kailash in the Trans-Himalayas. And in this way, the Indian warrior acquires the energy of Father Sun, the spiritual black sun, beyond the physical sun. The eagles speak to the warrior and say to him, We fight against the powers of darkness. Join us. Thus, the hero abandons his previous life and is delivered to the Thunderbird Road. Wakan Tanka. Wakan Tanka, dedicating his life to combat the monsters and help the eagles in their battle. The Sioux warrior says, place on my head 2 feathers of Wankan Tanka in reverence of him who is beyond all things, and that things revealed, who is beyond all things, and that things revealed to us. Stone, and we would say that's your true self. Or the gods of the green thunderbolt, the teachers, not Blavatsky's friends, the fake ascended masters. Get the fuck out of here, Blavatsky. And the Sioux warrior says, place on my head 2 feathers of Wankan Tanka in reverence of him who is beyond all things, and that things reveal to us. Stone, for example, rock as immovable, sign of immutable, of the immutable. The red-skinned warrior exclaims, O ancient stones, now thou art here with us. Wankan Tanka has created other worlds and has placed you near to him. Generations walk upon you. Rock is runic crystallization that can be regenerated. Fear them. Besides Minar, Dolmen, Cromlech, they can be transmuted into the UFO. The lance as Grail legend crystallization of runic thunderbolt sig, and the pipe, the sig and the pipe are both Nordic polar symbols, later inherited by the Redskins. As we have said, they metaphysically developed the Aryan symbol of the ravens, Hugin and Mugen. Hugin and Mugen. Thought and memory. Frederick Barbarossa, Wotan, and the Parsees with the Towers of Silence. Look that up, Towers of Silence. That's wild. We best discover the meaning of the eagle's wings in the Viking helmets that the Redskins have preserved in their headdress of feathers with which they cover themselves, and in the 2 feathers in their hair. They also carry horns like the Nordic helmets. Moreover, they adore the sacred mountains and the magnetic points of the earth through a geomancy similar to the Aryan Vastu Shastra. Everything is alive and has a soul for them. This noble man and warrior, faithful guardian of the symbols of Hyperborean white gods of yesteryear, and guided by them in Atlantis and then in Finland, Hutra Manaland, has been annihilated by the Great Conspiracy. They have been genocided, robbed by that conspiracy of their sacred land, destroying their spiritual cosmos, as C.G. Jung also discovered, massacring them physically and morally with the Jewish Bible, right? Massacring them physically and morally with the Jewish Bible in one hand and a goddamn gun in the other. The eagle on the front cover of this book,
in the shadows where the secrets dwell, Maria whispers with a cosmic spell, channeling messages from the stars above. Orsic's legacy, a mystery of love. Vril energy flows, transcending time, a bridge to the heavens, a force so sublime. Maria, oh Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the Vril Society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential, forever we'll soar. Lost in the echoes of a war-torn night, she vanished like a comet, out of our sight. A visionary queen, ruling the unknown in the metaphysical realms. She stands alone, communicating wisdom, an extraterrestrial song. Her essence remains bold and strong. Maria, oh Maria, spirit divine, dancing in the cosmos, a light that will shine. From the Vril Society to infinity's door, unlocking our potential, forever we'll soar. Embrace the connection, let the mystery unfold. Maria Orchid's truth, a story retold.